Don't worry too much about if one person is watching your videos, if nobody. I think if anything, what I used to do, which have my kids watch the videos, tell my family, look, click yes, click like, was kind of confusing YouTube. It's not you that has to find the audience. YouTube will find your audience as long as you're delivering valuable information. One of the most important things you have to do is you have to find your voice, find who you are, and just share who you are and what you're talking about. And what I've seen is, as people have been struggling in this 2023 because of rates, because of everything, we keep growing and we keep expanding. And what I can tell you is that it doesn't matter what the market is doing. It doesn't really matter if the rates are high, the rates are low, people are paying more for the homes, there's a lack of inventory. There is always people that want to be helped and that want to be kind of just finding those that are ready and really being able to make that happen.
Welcome back to our Successful Agent series, where we feature real estate agents doing big things in real estate. In each episode, we cover the starting point of their real estate journey to really understand what it takes to build a profitable real estate business from the ground floor to the penthouse. And today we sit down with none other than Cesar Franco, a real estate agent that in 2 short years scaled his real estate business from closing 0 transactions to over 30 transactions every single month. Now that's impressive in and of itself, but what's even crazier to think is that he's done this all without spending money on ads. He's been able to build this real estate empire all through YouTube. And today he's going to share his content strategy that generates hundreds of thousands of views monthly. Now beyond that, he's going to actually share the back end of his YouTube operation, where he talks about how he's able to successfully triage the thousands of leads that come in. So if you've been waiting for the blueprint to YouTube success for a real estate agent, this is the video for you. So I really hope that you enjoy listening to this Successful Agent. Welcome back to our Successful Agent series, where we speak to real estate professionals that are absolutely killing it. And today I have the very great pleasure of speaking with somebody that is absolutely crushing it, killing it, and just taking it to the stratosphere, but also a personal friend. So Franco, welcome to the channel. How are you?
I'm doing good, Jaime. Thank you so much for the invitation. And I'm ready and happy to share today what's been happening with YouTube.
Let's start right off the rip. How did you decide to get on YouTube? And then we're going to really fast forward and have a lot of practical applications for the viewers on how the agents can get onto YouTube and actually see success. How'd you get started?
Yeah, Jaime, it was very interesting because I have a son who's been doing YouTube. He's 14 at the time when he started telling me about YouTube, and he was like, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to start making money. Can you sign up for me?" And so I had to help him with the channel to get everything kind of like where he could get paid. And then I saw that he got $100. All of a sudden, he's making money. He's like, "You should do this." And at the time, I had no idea other than what my son had said about YouTube. And I've been looking for a way, this is when the pandemic happened and everything, to now start doing something where I didn't have to do the day-to-day. I had a separate business and coaching business where the coaching just basically was traveling, going different parts of the world. It stopped. And I had experience with doing loans before. So I'm like, how can I really use this vehicle? And I started looking around and I found you online. And as I started looking at your videos and watching what you were doing, and it was kind of a combination of that. And then I'm with EXP and I had bought EXP stock. And the EXP stock started to take off, and I'm like, "Ooh, I'm making money with what is EXP?" I had no idea what EXP was. Then I started to research more about EXP. That's how I found you, and then we started, right? And I basically had no idea. Had my computer, was in the garage. With my office was in the actual garage of my house in California at the time. I'm now in Texas, but I started now working with you and following the basic foundation that you have laid out, which I give a lot of credit to, as to what happened with YouTube. And before you know it, other than my kids and my wife and my family watching my videos, after about 6 months, I remember we talked February of 2021, I think like July, August, there's a video that hit, and from getting, 20 views, 30 views, 10 views, which again, half of those were my own computers and my kids. I got 4,000 views on one video. And I'm like, wow, okay, there's something here. And the whole key, I remember also having the conversation between us where I was doing a video a week and just kind of getting to understand the whole dynamic of doing the videos, following everything that you were teaching, and just really taking the time to learn and watch YouTube videos and also kind of get a sense of what was out there. And then when the video hit, I was like, wow, okay, there's real potential here. I need to start making more videos. And I remember the conversation that you and I had, and you said, I'm like, what do you think? I'm doing my video week. And you said, like, video week is fine, it's great. But if you really want to make a difference, you have to do 3 videos a week. So I'm like, how do I do that? How do I mean, I'm going to jump into the application already, but how do I do 3 videos a week from, struggling, spending 4, 5, 6 hours to get 1 video done because I had no idea, trying to edit it myself and all of that, to 3 videos a week. And so try to get business. At the time I was door knocking, putting up flyers, had jumped back into real estate after I came aboard with EXP. And it was like, I'm back from the old Mike Ferry days of cold calling and door knocking. And I had that as the way of generating business. And I always felt like if you work when nobody else is working, you're going to be successful. So go out there on the weekends. And it was hard work. And I hated every minute of it. I'm like, this has got to be a better way. So as the video hit, then I started to realize, well, I can just document. And I remember these weekly calls that you and I had, which I think were a huge add to what I was doing. It really gave me the insight that I needed. You document what you're doing. Just document when you're out there. So I'm showing flyers and door knocking and all of that. And that was easy for me to do the stories because we talked about, how do you practice? If you're somebody that's trying to even get started on YouTube and you have no sense and you're afraid of the camera and you don't know what you want to talk about, and it's just kind of all this big, I don't even want to be on camera. What is a great way to get started is working with, the short stories, the stories on Facebook, because it's what I was familiar with. And I started, because it doesn't matter if you suck on the short stories, they go away in 24 hours. So I was doing that. And that kind of got me going, getting more familiar and getting more comfortable with the camera, and then starting to think of what should I talk about? Because people, basically the stories and everything that you use to start to get an audience, YouTube will find you the audience. You just have to talk to the camera like you're talking to a person. And for me, it was like, I've always heard all these different things about, and real estate is not so much about real estate, but it's about you do your life and then let people know that you're doing real estate. So that was my approach. I would go running. I would record a little bit about that. And when I was running, I would look at things that I can, metaphors for real estate, the waves are like real estate. And sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, and just really getting inspired with that, with the short stories. And that helped. As we continued on working and kind of understanding, I remember a second most pivotal conversation that we had when I was all proud of, working 2-3 hours at night. This is all at night after door knocking and everything. I stopped watching TV and my family's like, you've disappeared. What are you doing? Well, I'm working on this YouTube thing, but working on my thumbnails, and listening and understanding that thumbnails is key. Like if you have a good thumbnail, then people will click on your video and start watching it. Well, I was very proud of my thumbnail. And on these weekly calls, again, hey, Jaime, what do you think of my thumbnail? You're like, we need to talk. We need to talk because your thumbnails need a lot of work. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm gonna, because I couldn't even afford to pay somebody for the thumbnails at the time. It was $5 a thumbnail. I'm like, $5? That's a lot of money. I don't want to waste $5 on a thumbnail because, if you're putting 3 videos a week, that's $15. And so some people at some point in your life, that means a lot. And I was like, I don't even have any money. I'm already paying for all this. Early on in my career, I realized that when you're working and you're operating, it costs money to just even be able to say I'm doing real estate. Paying for your cell phone, paying for all the fees, the dues, everything that you have to pay just to operate. And I was like, I have to add more to that. But I finally said, okay, I'm going to just pay for 50 thumbnails just up front, so that just pulling the Band-Aid off. And I kind of let that go and started to get better thumbnails. And again, started to get more clicks. And understanding the whole 3 days, took me to consistency, because that's one of the, I guess if I would have to share one of the key points with that is you have to be consistent on YouTube. That's one of the things that will put you to get noticed, which is what I remember you saying. Hey, you want to get noticed? You got to post at least 3 times. And coming from somebody that was posting every day, which I would watch your videos, I'm like, man, Jaime's posting every day. How do you do that? Because you still have to go do the work and everything, but it's just planning and getting it going. And it's been an amazing ride. It's been an amazing ride. I'll share more about it. But ultimately, it went from that to being consistent. And then the channel exploded, which exploded to me at the time was 4,000 or 5,000 views per video that I was getting now. And now I started to deal with other things that you have to do when you start to get, more audience, which let me respond to the messages and how do you do with that? How do you deal with that? Because the engagement was there. So that's how it started, Jaime. I think I gave you a little much more than what you asked, but that was the beginning of the YouTube, how it started. And in a moment, I'll share with you kind of where we are now and kind of how it kept evolving and how it's really helped us to generate a lot of business. I do business in all 50 states now, and mostly it's all referring out the business. And it kind of happened by necessity. And I'll share with you in a moment more the story of how that kind of got begun. But yeah, it's been an amazing ride, and I'm happy to be here.
So thank you so much for breaking it down that way, because oftentimes we see the results and we don't necessarily see what it took to get that video into a browse or into your suggested feed. Like when on YouTube, there's different types of traffic that you get. And when we were looking at your analytics, we were always, at the beginning, we were just trying to get things to work, right? But then as we started evolving, a lot of your videos were hitting the suggested, we're hitting the browse tab, which is where YouTube is actively promoting you. So, which a lot of real estate agents specifically on YouTube never get out of the search traffic, meaning we play to the SEO, including myself. I very wholeheartedly get stuck there, very rarely into the browse, very rarely into the suggested, going down on a tangent. One of the things that I really appreciate about the growth that you've had, outside of it being astronomical, you're very, very close to 100,000 subscribers, and being able to do that within a couple of years is phenomenal. You've gotten over 12 million views. I mean, there's astronomical stats. But one of the things that I've been so curious to know is on your video topic selection, how do you go about doing that? And the reason I ask that is because we all know one hit wonders, right? So it's one thing to be able to get, or just lucky enough to have YouTube suggest one of our videos and it blows up. But to be able to maintain the audience that gets found or finds you, is a better way of saying it, that's completely different, right? So the way that if you look at your YouTube channel, so consistently, it's getting thousands and thousands of views per video. And I'm not saying you don't miss. There's some that, maybe don't perform up to your standards, but you very rarely miss. So how do you go about topic selection at this point?
Yeah, it was something that I had to learn the hard way at the beginning, because at the beginning, I didn't understand about how YouTube will find you an audience. So I guess the first really important thing that I would share with everyone is don't worry too much about if one person is watching your videos, if nobody. I think if anything, what I used to do, which have my kids watch the videos, tell my family, look, click yes, click like, was kind of confusing YouTube, because YouTube will find your audience. You don't have to really do anything. You just have to put content out there, right? So when I realized that, is one of the most important things you have to do is you have to find your voice, find who you are, and just share who you are and what you're talking about. Really it's not that important. It's first, you got to find the audience, share what you're up to. And it's not just about real estate, but in general. When I was doing those videos, those stories, because I love to go running, by the beach when I was in California. So I would go running by the beach and take 30 seconds to record a video, and getting used to that, which, it's something that most people are like, why would anybody care? Really, it's people are interested. And again, it's the whole kind of thing about you being an agent, that's kind of secondary. Sharing your life and then letting people know that you're an agent is the key, because people will identify, and YouTube will find you the audience. So for me, it kind of took off when that first video hit. And I remember because I have the timing of it, right? We started in February, started posting, I think March is when I started, and I was unsure of how to really get the content out there. Once that first video hit, I'm like, that, which was kind of in July, I'm like, I'm not going to waste the story. Now, I've been doing stories for maybe about a month, every other day I would put a story, just on anything. It didn't really matter. Just get it out there so you practice. So really practicing was key so that you can feel comfortable. And I remember clearly, I would watch you, Jaime, doing live, and I would go to your lives and watch, because it's very important that if you're starting on YouTube, that you also have a sense of what's happening out there, what other people are doing, how, and really study what's happening. It won't just happen because, you decided to make YouTube videos. You have to really understand it. And I started to see these patterns on the whole YouTube world. And I started to see, videos that were very negative, that had a lot of views. And it was just about negativity, news, like sensational news, drama, the real estate market is going to crash, and, no one's going to know, and it's going to hit you, and you're going to be broke, and you'll be homeless. And those would get a lot of views. But I'm like, really understanding and looking at that content and saying, that's not who I am. I mean, yeah, there's some stuff that we all get hit with when interest rates go up, or when the market changes, or, in the craziness of the pandemic where everything was just daily was going up, and you had to pay $100,000 more than the house was worth just to get the house. But overall, really finding your message, finding who you are, and just thinking that you have one person in front of you and that you're sharing that to the person in front of you. And some people tell me, like, Franco, I don't know. I'm very uncomfortable. I could do it in front of a person, but not in front of the camera. It's no different as long as your mindset is there, as long as you really picture that client that you have in front of you, and you do nothing different than what you already do. Because if you're in real estate and you're trying to help people and you're successful, part of what people want is that expansion. For me, I'm very blessed, very lucky that I'm able to have, business in all 50 states now. And it's because what I'm doing is just thinking of that person that's in front of me as the audience, right? I'm not talking to millions. I'm just talking to that one person and really giving the message of what I would do when they come for a consultation. And that's going to be different for everybody. There's different levels of experience that you have in real estate, but it doesn't really matter. This is the important part that you need to know. It doesn't matter if you just started in real estate. Just the fact that you have to pass the test and get everything that you have to go through to get your real estate license, that already sets you apart from the general public. So you already know more than 99.9% of the people. And based on that is what you have to really build to come up with the content. Just what you're learning, share what you're learning, share what's happening, share the things, the patterns that you're seeing. So for me, it started from having to do one video a week to then doing stories to then having that hit where I got over 4,000 views. And I'm like, I'm not going to waste stories that are 30 seconds, and I have an audience that really wants to hear more. And it's funny because my videos are they're not normal. They're not your normal YouTube. And I really looked at long format versus short format. And, some of my videos are an hour long, and I get all these comments. Oh, what are you doing? You say the same thing 20 times. It's an hour long. I already know who my audience is. And my audience is the 40 to 60-year-old clients that, they're kind of into the internet, but not really, but they are. And they have their Facebook, and they're looking at your Facebook. They want information. They're learning, and they want to hear a certain thing when it comes to real estate 2 or 3 times. And I do that. And I just did what I was doing with my clients. And I was told from my clients, just on a regular, one-on-one basis, like, I really like the way you explain, and I really understand things that I never understood before. So I'm like, my whole goal is just, I'm going to teach and educate. I'm going to give everything I've got, teaching and educating what I do. And really, it's going to all depend on how you work, But for me, this was a much better approach than door knocking or cold calling, which I hated to do those calls. Now the dynamic has shifted where we have people calling, asking us to really help and facilitate. And by the time that they get to me, they've already been watching our videos and they've been getting educated. So it's a different level of client that you will have if part of what you do is educate. You got to keep them informed. So how do I come up with the topics? That's one. I want to educate every week, something educational. It could be anything. It could be the new types of loans that are out there. It could be what's happening in the market. It could be how to, work with the banks, letting people understand that one bank is different than the other, and you can get approved here but denied here. So really expose and open your possibilities to different options, And so really, Jaime, one of the key things that I do every week is I'm educating. So I would say that's one pillar. And for me, the other thing that kind of happened by necessity is when that first video hit and I started to say, hey, if you have any questions, if you really need some help, just, let us know, put it on the comments and I will get back with you. And I was getting 200-300 comments and, weekly. And then they started to be 200-300 comments every 2-3 days. Then it was daily. I'm like, how do YouTubers do that? How do you even keep up with that? So as that whole kind of thing happened, we were able to set up a Calendly where I would say, if you really want to talk to me and you have questions more about this topic that we're talking about, just set up a call, set up a call and we'll touch base. And in that, I would pre-screen people because I would force them to answer certain questions. I remember that's another one of the calls that you and I had about, hey, what questions should we ask? How much should we ask? Because all of that is filtering people. The more you ask of somebody, the more motivated they need to be. Whether, you get to a question that you have 15 questions, most people are not going to answer 15 questions. But if you give them 3, maybe they'll answer 3 and there you go. I was kind of in the middle, so I have 10, 12 questions in my questionnaire that we do. Everything from, where are you? How much are you making? For the last couple of years, basically everything that I knew on loans, I would put it on this form and that would be kind of the prerequisite to talk to me until I got to a point where, we were getting 30 booked appointments every week. And I was like, I can handle 30 booked appointments. No problem. And it was crazy. And it started to continue to grow. And then we went to 50 booked appointments. 50 booked appointments, I was done. I couldn't do it myself. So then I hired, again, by necessity, I hired a virtual assistant to start helping me just basically go through the questionnaires. I realized that, hey, I have to triage these people. So let's triage them and let me bring somebody that can just ask the basic questions so that it's a little bit less work. So that's how, we went from 1 to 3 videos a week. So the topics is education. The other topic that we look for every week is information. What is the news saying this week, in the different ways? There's different articles that you can look at. And basically everything that you're doing as a real estate agent, you're keeping yourself educated. You're finding out what the trends are, what the tendencies, what happened with the rates this week, In the good old days when I was as a loan officer, used to have to go to real estate offices to try to generate business. And what we would do is we would just talk about the newest loan that people can get and what you could do with that, So, one day a week is about, loans and kind of programs and what's out there. So now we're covering education, we're covering the loan types, and then the news, whatever's happening in the news. The banks collapse, this happened, the rates, the Fed, every time the Fed speaks, you talk about it, everybody needs to hear what's happening. And what you'll find is as you can get creative with the topics, but ultimately, as you get a sense of the audience with the questions, I still go through all the questions that I receive. And now I have a team that answers all of that, but I'm still looking at it, when I'm driving, when I'm, in different places and I'm at stoplight, I'm checking things out. And ultimately, I see that having your pulse in the market is what's going to keep you understanding what you need to do, what you need to talk about, what's hot this week, what's not, and really working with that. And to me, what I've seen is, again, there's different channels as I study the different market and the different ways of people delivering their message. You could be a very negative channel. You're going to get views for very fast. It can kind of grow your audience. But is that really what you want? You could be education only and be boring and be like, oh my God, if I watch another video, learning about another program already, they talked about all loan programs, which some channels just do that. Loan officers talk about loans, right? Real estate, we talk about houses. So you want to really get yourself kind of a mix of topics that you can share, and that will really help. So for me, it's been by necessity that I had to figure out ways to then, after really defining what I was going to do and starting to see the numbers, now I have one person just working on the social media all day. All they do is they go through messages and they respond. And, the messages they don't know how to respond, they're asking me and I'm giving them responses to that. So there's a whole process that kind of will get created as you go. You have to feel your way through it, but there is no book. Jaime has a Done For You YouTube program that I wish it would have been there when I started, because he was giving me all the things and we were piecing it together. But now he's got if you have no idea what to do for YouTube, nothing, and you really want to get started, there's a follow steps, which he had that before, but now we have the support system to help you with the editing, to help you with all the production of the videos, which to me, it's invaluable. That's something that we're speaking earlier. One of the hardest things to do when you're starting in YouTube is you have to get over the fact that you need to know how to do it yourself. Forget about learning how to edit. Forget about learning how to create thumbnails, because I wasted hours, long nights trying to do that and realize it doesn't even work. But if you can keep a pulse on the market and you can just be who you are and share who you are through your videos, through your stories, when you're out there doing the open houses and whatever it is that you do to generate business, people want to hear that. And especially if you ultimately do it like they're in front of you, and then have a system so that all of the how-tos get handled for you so that you don't have to figure it out, then it's kind of like a no-brainer. And there's huge opportunity in YouTube. Right now, one of the things we're doing is we're growing, because I have the ability to deliver in all 50 states. We're growing our team, finding people in each state that we can refer business to, because, we have too much business. It's a good problem to have, but we have too much business handling even the incomings and the phone. Now that we open up our phone, because that was the other thing I couldn't do for a while when I was drowning in all these leads and all these questions that would come up. I couldn't handle phone calls. So I never gave my phone. I never gave my phone, and once I got my team set and people in place, then now every other video I'll share, you can call me if you have any questions, and then they go. Now, time as you get busier and busier shrinks. So what I did is, part of the other thing, and again, with Jaime working on this, is how do, people want to talk to me, but I don't have time to talk to anybody like that. We're getting 50 incoming appointments a week. I don't have time. So my team handles all of it. And if somebody wants to talk to me and they want to talk to me and only me, then they could book a paid appointment. So now I have a separate calendar of paid appointments that I can, let people kind of participate in, and then it gives them all the structure. And now my time is worth, very valuable. So it kind of like, if somebody is like, I need to speak to Franco because he's the only one that I'm going to speak to, they say, okay, you can go over there, you can book a paid appointment, and then that's how we work it out. And that's something that I can turn on and off. I basically, when I have more time, I'll open more appointments. When I don't have time, I close my appointment agenda, and people are booking, a month in advance for those. And it's worked out very well, because then the inflow, we can control it. And at this point, it's just, now we're maintaining the growth. And the video selection that we have now is really, like I said, based on those 3 pillars. And you have to come up with your pillars. I see some YouTubers that record every day. I see some people that record 2 or 3 times a video a day. I'm like, I can't do that. I need my brain to have a little bit of a rest. We're talking to Jaime. It's like, hey, what are you doing today? It's Saturday when we're recording this. I'm getting ready for my video for Monday. I'm recording it today. So I kind of give myself every other day to shoot. Some people will go the whole week and shoot. I don't like that because I want to keep on top of what's important. And if you make, videos a week ahead of time, they could be a little stale by the time that you put them out. So that's been part of my commitment and what I want. And that, Jaime, specifically speaking about what you mentioned, has been the way that I keep the pulse on what's happening, because I'm watching and I'm recording a day, 2 days before they have to come out.
Well, I think if I had to like summarize it, obviously the persistence is super important. Consistency, of course, obviously that is super important. But I think that the topic selection, or maybe I should say it a different way, knowing your audience has been your superpower. The way that you've been able to identify your audience and deliver what they are going to respond to is invaluable. And there's a reason that now, with the infrastructure that you've put in place, from folks that are taking the inbound inquiries and filtering and then finding partners to fulfill on those requests, you've been able to take those things that are really not revenue generating activities. Let me rephrase that. Those are revenue generating activities, but those are not the ones that you should be focused on from the initial point of contact. So what you've built out on the back end, the structure that you have is just incredible. So now you can focus on your zone of genius of, I have to continue, the top of funnel, bringing folks in. Then I can do the final mile once my team has already pre-vetted and vetted again and vetted again. And then ultimately, that's how you've been able to successfully grow so many different revenue streams. You have the YouTube side, you have sponsorship side, you have product side, you have consulting side, you have referral side. And at any point in time, I don't want to disclose too much, but at any point in time, if you want some lunch money, you could make a video about a certain community in like a new construction community and sell out the community like that. The power that you yield is just incredible.
Yeah, that's something that we've learned how to work with, Jaime, and it's been very interesting to witness, right? When I bring a new partner on for a certain area, and I tell them, look, all we have to do is I specifically will feature that area, and then the phone starts to ring. And that's something that, for me, I couldn't even dream of it before. That's the power of YouTube, and that's the power of being able to deliver your message. Because again, it's not you that has to find the audience. YouTube will find your audience as long as you're delivering valuable information. So if you want to know what I'm doing, just watch the videos, because I give everything on the videos. I give with my best, the best that I have of my knowledge, like if they were in front of me, if I was doing a consultation, I give it to them. And this year, it's allowed me to really travel. I just moved to Texas a year and a half ago. It's been 1 year that we're now in our house that we had built here in Texas. And everyone was like, oh my God, the heat of Texas. You left from California to Texas. And what are you going to do? And it's so bad. It doesn't really matter, because I was able to travel during the summer. For 2 months, I was in Ecuador and with the whole family traveling, and it doesn't stop, because you can work from anywhere you are. It doesn't really matter. You build a team, you build an infrastructure to support the message that you're doing. And as long as you're delivering value, the clients will come, right? So I'm very blessed now that I'm able to do that. And it's kind of like, goal planning is going to start coming up here soon. I've already started. And the first thing that I looked is, where do we want to go next year? Where do we want to go live at? Because, when you have the freedom of traveling and have a team of a system that can support, it doesn't matter. You can go for 1, 2, 3 months. It doesn't really matter, So that's one of the things that I've been very blessed with. And that's part of, before I was doing real estate again, I was traveling a lot, and that's part of my passion. So I'm going to keep doing it, keep incorporating it, and also using all of the trips to talk about different areas. I was in Miami in the summer, just went to Miami with some clients and just then created some series of videos in Miami. So it gives you that opportunity to really expand your horizon. And it's been an amazing journey. Like I said, Jaime, I really look back to when we started, and we started with the process and my kids watching my videos, no one else, and then really having that hit. And it was exactly that, because I was on a trip in Egypt when people started calling me wanting to set up appointments. I'm like, I don't have time to set up appointments. I'm over here in Egypt. So that forced me to get some referral partners and set up a structure so that doesn't matter where I'm at, I can always refer and give business out. So if you're thinking about YouTube, and if you're thinking about, does it make sense for me to start my channel? As I've been talking to, different people in different states, because we're now working very diligently to grow our national partnership referral program. Really, I get to see how people are very successful. They're already doing great numbers, but I would say that out of every 10 people that I speak with, 7 don't even have a YouTube channel. Not even like I have a YouTube channel that's not successful. No, they don't even have a YouTube channel. So the opportunity is there for you to really start putting out content. And like I said, some people are like, well, I don't like to be in front of the camera. I don't know how to do that. All of the how to do it, Jaime has kind of created different programs that could support you on how to get it done. All it has to be is just consistency I think is the number one ingredient for success on YouTube. And as you start doing it, as you start getting familiar with the process of what needs to happen, then it just becomes something that you do, it's just part of your day to day. Just like I used to do the cold calling and the door knocking for all my Mike Ferry and Tom Ferry goers. That's hard work, man. Making a video is a lot easier than that. Again, if you're able to take away the how to get it done, the mechanics, because, unless you're one of these young kids now that they're born with all the knowing how to do all the technology, it could be daunting, the whole process of creating and production and everything that happens in the back end. So that to me is one of the biggest hurdles of being a successful in YouTube. Jaime has created a product that you can really facilitate you to go through that. For me, it was a great learning experience the way we did it. What Jaime has now that he can offer to people it blows my mind, because it will just cut a lot of the hardship of what to do and how to do YouTube to nothing, where you could just show up and do what you do. So yeah, Jaime, that's a little bit about what's going on. Like I said, we're very blessed and we're continuing to grow the business. We're continuing to grow. Right now, we're looking for partners in all 50 states and really specific, wanting to build those relationships with the people so that then they can take each of the areas and then grow with that.
So something that you just ended with there is just so important that I want to make sure that it doesn't get lost. In 2021 is when you started your YouTube channel and you were starting in the industry as a real estate agent for the first time, starting YouTube for the first time. So first year, as you mentioned, it was a learning experience. The following year, 2022, we understand what happened in terms of the headwinds that the industry started to face a little bit more, higher interest rates, limited inventory, yada, yada, right? So we understood that a lot of real estate agents towards the latter part of 2022, the production maybe wasn't as high as they were used to. 2023, more of the same thing. So with something I don't want to get lost here is the fact that you've been able to grow your business year over year in the face of these headwinds that every one of us is going through. Now, I don't want to give too much away, but this past month, you closed over 30 transactions from YouTube. And the reason that it's not more, it's not because the opportunity isn't there. Don't mishear me, that 30 transactions is an incredible phenomenon, just super beyond impressive from something that you've built in less than 2 years. But really to highlight your point of the partnerships, your limiting step is not opportunity. It's folks that can actually execute on the inbound that you're getting. So I've personally seen it. I've personally witnessed if somebody that is interested in, let me rephrase that, somebody that is capable, willing, and able to provide a level of service that, a true real estate professional should, and just might not have those many opportunities, I encourage you to reach out to Franco, because I don't want to put it so bluntly, but he has a business. He has got way more business than he knows what to do with. Because at this point, the reason that you are not opening up your additional appointment time slots is, again, not because of lack of opportunities, because of folks that can actually deliver the quality of service that your brand has now instilled in the viewers. So that's something, again, I don't want to get lost. So folks that are interested, and we'll end off with this, if it's okay, but agents that, again, are real estate professionals that can service the business at a high level, those agents that are interested, how can they get a hold of you to potentially look at a partnership and see what that would look like for them and you?
Yeah, no, thank you, Jaime. And you said you hit it right in the head. What happens right now is what I'm looking is for people that I really can refer the business to, that I know are going to take care of the clients, because one referral is not one deal. One referral, if you take care of it, it will produce 4 or 5 referrals in the next year. Lifetime value of a client is something that I really look at. And the whole back end, we have before unit, during unit, and after unit. After you close a deal, how you continue to follow up and do all of that is key. But for me, really is the people that have the hunger, that want to make it happen. I find these realtors from all over the country, and there's the ones that are really want to do it, and they have a certain level of success, but they haven't really mastered how to generate more. And that's the one thing I hear about the most. Like, I want to help people. I don't want to be grinding, door knocking, and having to do all the stuff that sometimes is required to do to get the business, but I would love to service and help the people that want to be helped. That's one of the key things that happens, because the process that my clients have been going through, getting educated. When they come, they're ready. When I give a lead, I don't just give a lead. It's somebody that's ready, that's been pre-qualified, that's ready to go, that already has a sense of the area. And I've been guiding them through all the different videos. So yeah, basically, if you're interested in getting quality referrals like that, and you want to grow and expand your business, because we can always work with you and tailor to the areas that you're working. Yeah, you can always send us an email. Franco@holafranco.com is the best place where you can send your emails to. And then my assistant will get a hold of you. And there's certain things that we do to kind of set up a time, get to know you. There's a questionnaire that we have you fill out. That way we can make sure it's a match. But ultimately, like I said, we have, like you said, there's more business that we can handle in this moment. And it's everywhere. It's not just in one area. And what I've seen is, as people have been struggling in this 2023 because of rates, because of everything, we keep growing and we keep expanding. And what I can tell you is that it doesn't matter what the market is doing. It doesn't really matter if the rates are high, the rates are low, people are paying more for the homes, there's a lack of inventory. There is always people that want to be helped, and that want to be kind of just finding those that are ready and really being able to make that happen through the process that we have, through the systems that we have in place. We're able to give high quality leads. So yeah, we love to have the opportunity to interview you and work with you and kind of get a sense, because we're definitely growing in all the 50 states.
Boom. We're going to end it with that. Franco, thank you so much for your time, hanging out with us and sharing more of your personal story on your YouTube success, your real estate success, and everything that you've got going on. So really appreciate the time, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
Thank you.